Hello everybody, Toreno here, and welcome back to another episode of War Thunder, or more specifically an episode dealing with British tanks in War Thunder. As most of you probably remember, we got news about British tanks back in August. We was told 3 of the tanks being added into the game, the Comet, Centurion and Churchill, and then everything kind of went really quiet for the next month or so, until now. The only news we got was during an interview of the CEO, or Q&A, where they basically said, British tanks aren't ready yet, we're going to either have to release them at a later date, or we can start releasing some premiums and then release the actual regular tech tree when the rest of the vehicles are finished. I think they said there was going to be like 30 vehicles, or 27, I can't quite remember, on the tech tree, and they just weren't finished yet. And from today's announcement, it seems they are going to go with the release some premiums and then the regular tech tree route of releasing British tanks. As it says here, while other British ground vehicles, including regular versions of most of these, are in development, these 4 premium tanks will be the first vehicles available. It doesn't say if they're going to be in a British tank tech tree, or like the British tank tech tree, or if they're going to be part of already existing tech trees. It says it will be available in the store, so I don't know if that means buying them as bundles. It doesn't really say. But the 4 vehicles they've announced are the A13 Mark II cruiser tank, the Sherman Firefly medium tank, if I can find it, there, the M10 Achilles, and the A43 Black Prince. Now, it's only going to really be a quick episode today, because usually I do really big episodes, but this is mainly just focusing in on how the vehicles will be in War Thunder, any tiers we can find, what weapons they'll use, how they'll play in War Thunder. But anyway, now that's all out of the way, let's get straight into the episode. So the first tank we're going to look at is the A13 Mark II, Cruiser Mark IV, and as it says here, it's a unique tank modification with exclusive livery. It's got a 2-colour camouflage scheme with middle bronze green / deep bronze green France, and it says here where the prototype holds from, Squadron A of 3rd Royal Tank Regiment, 3rd Tank Battalion, 1st Armoured Division. Now down here it just talks a little bit about the tank, like the Christie suspension and such, but down at the bottom it says it's an up-armoured model of the tank. Now, I'm not sure what the armour would actually be, because it says it was slowly corrected by redevelopment and modernisation efforts, like any problems and that. Presumably this is when the armour was added, but some of my books disagree with what the original armour was in the first place. Some say 20, 25, some say 30. So possibly the 30 was the up-armoured version, possibly it will have more armour than the 30mm. I'm not entirely sure, I'll have to look into that a bit more. But as you can see down here, it says the vehicle has decent mobility and has been placed at rank 1. You may remember my own tech tree. I put it at something like rank 3, tier 3, tier 2, with a lower battle rating, of course. But it's going to be rank 1. Interestingly enough, it says worth playing the tank using its chief advantage, the fast-loading cannon. I didn't really particularly think the 2-pounder was a very fast-loading cannon, but this is what Gaijin seems to be saying, that's going to be one of the main advantages of the cruiser tank, this cruiser tank having a fast-loading gun. Whether that will be the same for all the other 2-pounder guns, I'm not entirely sure, but it would be a very nice advantage to have when using this tank, or other tanks like it. Now, the next tank we're looking at is the M10 Achilles. As you can see here, it's with the 65th Anti-Tank Regiment, and is a tank with exclusive livery. And as it says here, it's an M10 Achilles of the British 7th Armoured Division 65th Anti-Tank Regiment, Norfolk Yeomanry. So this is basically an M10 Wolverine, but with a 17-pounder gun, so pretty similar to the Sherman Firefly, but, in an actual tank destroyer. Now, it doesn't give us much information about the tank. As far as I can tell, it is essentially just an M10 Wolverine with a different gun. It does make mention about the open turret with fairly large proportions, allowing the crew to man the weapon in more comfortable conditions. Perhaps that will affect reloading, because, I don't know, maybe where it's easier to access the weapon and such. That's conjecture on my part. It doesn't tell us much information other than that. Other than it's a perfect weapon for destroying German heavy tanks. We knew that already, but this seems to be confirming it will be quite a threat to German heavy tanks. Now, unfortunately, we're not told what tier this is going to be, but based on information given to us in the Firefly bit of the article, I believe it will be tier 3, but perhaps a lower battle rating than the Firefly, because obviously this has less armour. But it's also possible it will have some better reloading, which again is conjecture on my part. So maybe it could be the same battle rating roughly, but it'd be a nice tank to have on the British tech tree because it is a nice little modification of the M10. And of course, the next vehicle, Sherman IC 2nd Warsaw Armoured Division, Sherman Firefly. And I was a little worried at first because it said unique tank modification with exclusive livery. And reading through the description didn't say anything about any modifications, which made me think the 17 pounder, the fact it is a Firefly, is what it means by unique modification. I was a bit worried they were going to keep this as premium only, but on page 5, I think, of the forum thread, which you can access at the bottom of here, they have said there is going to be a non-premium version, so, that's just badly worded and I misinterpreted it. But as it says here, it's a Sherman Firefly called Trzezieniek. I do apologise to any Polish speakers out there for the mispronunciations. Part of the 1st Squadron, 4th Armoured Regiment, Scorpion, 2nd Armoured Brigade, 2nd Warsaw Armoured Division, Italy, 1945. So this is a tank used by Polish forces. Now, down here it does give us a bit of information about the Firefly. It says it was one of the most successful M4 modifications made, and we are sure that players will enjoy the Firefly at rank 3 in battles against the early Tigers and the Panther, which is kind of surprising. I thought it would be tier 4 or something. I did think it might be a little overpowered against Tiger 1s. Perhaps the Panther would be pretty suited against, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm sure it'll be a good tank anyway. But it just seems a little lower than I expected it to be. But I'll enjoy it all the same, and it is good they are adding it into the game. And like I said, I was worried it was going to be premium only, but it seems like that it's not going to be the case. And lastly, we have the A43 Black Prince, an exclusive tank, and there's a good reason for this. If you come down here, it says that the tank was the most improved modification of the Churchill but never saw deployment due to the end of the war against Germany. It was a prototype, it was built in extremely limited numbers, and never used in combat. As it says here, it's got a new welded hexagonal turret, and that houses the 76.2mm cannon, which is a 17 pounder. It also says the tank is excellently armoured and armed with the 17 pounder gun, as it said there. The armour, I believe, is something like 152mm at the front, so that's going to be pretty, hard to take down. That's going to be pretty well armoured. You can also see it says to be aware of enemy flanking manoeuvres. So obviously the side armour is going to be quite a bit thinner than the frontal armour. Also, unless I'm mistaken, it has the same engine as the regular Churchill, but is a lot heavier, so it is a lot slower, so would likely be a lot more susceptible to flanking manoeuvres. You won't be able to react as fast. Now, like with the Achilles, it doesn't tell us what tier this tank's going to be. I think it would probably be high tier 3 or low tier 4. I mean, it's hard to decide really, because obviously he's got the 17 pounder gun, which has apparently been decided to be a tier 3 thing, but it's also got much thicker armour, 152mm, so I think low tier 4, high tier 3 is probably the best place for it, but of course we're not going to really know until it's actually released into the game. So which of these tanks am I looking forward to the most? Well, like I said, the Firefly is meant to be coming in as a regular tank as well as a premium, so I'm not going to be too fussed about getting that. A13 Mark II, it does look like a good tank, but again, it's quite a low tier premium. I don't know, I usually prefer getting premiums at the higher tiers, although I would get it if the price was right. The Achilles would be a definite tank for me to get, because, it's this M10 Wolverine with a 17 pounder gun in it. That would be pretty fun to use. But I actually think the A43 Black Prince would be the one I'd want to get the most, because it is a unique tank. It's a British tank, it's got a very good gun, it's got very good armour, very good cross-country capabilities. It was able to climb ridiculous, slopes and stuff. I think this would be the tank I'm looking forward to the most, if I'm honest. So that's it for this episode. Like I said, it was just a quick episode to look at these 4 tanks, try and work out any better tiers if possible. It'd be good to have these tanks in the game. It's a shame they're releasing them premiums first and then the regular tech tree. I quite liked how they did it with the American tech tree, where they released, I think it was like tier 1 first, then they released a couple more vehicles, and they kept doing that until all the vehicles were added in, premium and regular alike. But obviously Gaijin have felt this is the best way of doing things. Hopefully this will get British tanks into the game quicker in some form or another. And, it'd be good to see all these tanks in War Thunder. But anyway, if you liked that episode, leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you like these sorts of videos. Leave feedback, could always do with more feedback. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, if you're interested in tanks that could potentially be added for other War Thunder nations, or if you're interested in my original proposed British tank tech tree, to see what vehicles could potentially be added to the British tech tree, or even to see how close or far off the mark I was with my original tank tech tree, then don't forget to click the links on screen.